Zealong Tea Estate is New Zealand's first tea exporter. It grows 1.2 million oolong tea camellia bushes on a 48-hectare plantation in Waikato. The company has grown considerably since we visited in 2010. It's added more tea styles to its export range and expanded its restaurant, function and education centres.
Zealong is a New Zealand grown tea, 100%, so we farm organically and then we have no chemical sprays or fertilisers. We emphasise and specialise very much on a value-added product. In terms of the teas here, technically they're an oolong. That means they're partially oxidised and they're in between a green and a black tea. We're currently the only New Zealand tea estate. We're completely traceable. We're also actually halal approved, and every single one of our products is completely traceable back down to the date and block. So it's very different from the world market of teas, where it's all about blending, and there's a bit of inconsistency in terms of where your tea actually comes from. So we want to emphasise that all your products get to the end user exactly how they should arrive. The actual farm was established since 1996, and it's taken quite a few years to get the farming, the nursery, and the cultivation, and even the picking and harvesting correct. So it's a lot of learning involved there. We actually only launched our Zealong brand in early 2010, and since then, Zealong is actually marketed across New Zealand and especially focused on international business. So on our estate here, we like to pride ourselves on our organic status, and we certify everything. We have everything to the strictest food safety standards. So everything that we do, all our operations from nursery, farm, factory and packaging, it's all ISO 22000 HACCP certified. In terms of our land size, we have 48 hectares on our Gordington estate, the majority of which is certified organic. The rest is in conversion to, but all our practices are farmed organically, so all of them adhere to those standards. Educating the world that New Zealand grows tea is always going to be a challenge. I mean, our industry here is still emerging, right? In terms of our product development and our, I guess, our knowledge of tea. It's getting to a point where it's entering and it's competing with the very best teas in the market.
Growing tea in the Waikato was a bit of a challenge from the start, because usually worldwide in the tea industry, quality leaf is known to grow at high altitudes. But because we're so far down in the southern hemisphere, the temperatures are a bit different, and we managed to grow very high quality tea just about 40 meters above sea level. The key elements that make for such a high quality leaf here in the Waikato are a fairly high moisture level, really good sunshine most of the year, but also enough rain, and particularly that fog that the Waikato is known for here in New Zealand, for good or worse. So for our leaves, it's actually a very, very good thing. And the soil is very fertile in the Waikato as well. The challenges of growing organically are numerous, but it's well worth it in our view. Many New Zealand companies piggyback on that New Zealand clean, green, pure image that the country has overseas, and they're right in doing so. But here at Zealong, we want to prove that it's clean, green and pure, and we've got scientific proof for it. Going organic is one of those steps towards justifying that high quality. It involves a little bit more work, actually a lot more work, and fairly higher investment as well, but it's well worth it in terms of market positioning overseas. In order to comply with BioGrow New Zealand's organic standards, we can only use BioGrow certified input fertilizer, or at least a fertilizer that's been thoroughly tested and approved on a case-to-case basis. This makes things much more difficult and also costlier as far as fertilizer goes. But there are other things linked to organic growing that a lot of people may not think about at first glance. That includes yearly farm scheduling, mainly the weeding, obviously because we're not allowed to spray any pesticides or weed killer. All of that job has to be done manually, either weed mowing or pulling or cutting, and that's literally a daily job from October to March, which contains our 3 harvest seasons. When Zealong Tea Estate was first established, there was a fair bit of work involved in convincing the local authorities for the need to import skilled labor from overseas and not having any locals. But over the years, we've been able to train some locals, and we now have, as far as picking goes, because all of the crop is at the moment hand-picked, we've got over 80% of local pickers and only 20% from overseas who keep on training the locals year after year. On the processing side, we unfortunately have to rely on overseas labor because the tea leaves has, give or take, a 4-hour lifespan after you pick it. Therefore, we can only process tea during picking season, which is 3 weeks in November, 3 weeks in January, and 3 weeks in March. One of the few potential issues that we might have with growing in the Waikato is those early spring frost, late winter frost that might hit just before our spring harvest and possibly damage the fresh new November crop. In the past, we've been using helicopters, which hover over the tea estate and blow the warm air down. The reason why we're refurbishing the irrigation system is that we're hoping to use it as a frost control protection and have a high-pressure sprinklers to basically spray over the leaves and try and raise up that temperature a little bit. This would allow for a much faster response to potential frost problems.
This program was made with funding from New Zealand On Air.